Hello everyone, I hope you've had a good week. Today I'm going to be answering one of the most common questions writers are asked. Where do you get your ideas from?
How do you write like you're running out of time? Night day and night like you're running out of time. Every day you fight like you're running out of time. Like you're running out of time, like you're running out of time. How do you write like tomorrow won't arrive? How do you write like you needed to survive? How do you write every second you're alive? Every second you're alive.
Okay, before we begin, a quick writing update. I finished my novel. This is a finished manuscript for my novel Empty Nights. I started work on Empty Nights on New Year's Day in 2016 and I finished the final draft on the 22nd January 2018, so just over 2 years later. I have said before on my social media that I finished the final draft, and that was true. At the time I had finished the final draft, but then I had more ideas. I wanted to delete one scene, add another, and the final draft kept evolving and evolving and evolving. But that right there is the final draft. At the moment, it's gone out in digital form to my beta readers, who will read through it and send their comments back to me. And then it will go to the editors at Mama Sharp Press. They will leave their notes. But this is the final draft that I will write solo without any other contribution. And I'm really proud of it. I can't wait to get started on getting some feedback on it. It's exciting times. And terrifying, of course. Also, I've started a newsletter on MailChimp. So at the end of every month, I'll be sending out a newsletter with all my latest uploads for that month. So for example, it could be 2 website posts, 1 Spitfire review, and 2 Write Up at Ali videos on this YouTube channel. It could be updating people on the publication process of my novel. It could be any writing success I've had in that month. It could be anything related to my writing. If you want to sign up for the letter, and I really recommend you do so, the link will be in the description below, so please show your support. So where do you get your ideas from is one of the most common questions writers are asked. And it's a very good question. We don't completely know the answer ourselves. The ancient Greeks used to believe that 9 muses would bless authors with ideas and inspiration. Zeus, the king of the gods, had an affair with the Titaness Mesosome and produced 9 children who became the 9 muses. For example, Euterpe was the muse of flutes and lyrical poetry. There was Calliope, the muse of epic poetry. Clio, the muse of history. Thalia, the muse of comedy. Melpomene, the muse of tragedy. Polyhymnia, the muse of sacred poetry. Urania, the muse of astronomy. Erato, the muse of love poetry. And Terpsichore, the muse of dance. I am so sorry if I butchered any of their names. I probably did, but I don't read or speak Greek. But the idea was that the author would pray to whatever particular muse in hopes they would be favoured from their work. Although I like the idea of 9 Greek demigods whispering into my ear about what to write, I don't believe in the muses. They're very specific. There's no muse of short stories and novels, for example. I think it's fair to say that apart from Thalia and Melpomene, whose symbols are still used in the world of theatre, the muses have fallen out of use in the modern world. Obviously, having an active imagination is useful for generating ideas if you're a writer, but I would argue that it isn't the only tool you have. Many non-fiction writers study historical documents and historical accounts like Queen Victoria's diaries, for example, and from that they've made the BBC show Victoria starring Jenna Coleman. Sometimes it's historical documents like this, or the ambiguity of these historical documents, that can spark an idea, almost like a what-if scenario. Other writers are really observant. They notice a statue tucked away in a corner of a museum somewhere, or they overhear a snippet of conversation on the train, and just from that image, or just from those few lines of conversation, they'll spin a story in their mind. Personally, my ideas just happen. I don't know another way to describe it, they just sort of happen in my head. They just appear, and when I come to write them down, I ask myself, how long have I been thinking about such and such? I don't know how long I've been thinking about it. It's just there in my head. Some ideas just appear fully formed in my head, like, oh yeah, I've always been thinking about such and such novel. And other ideas are like a plant, they just need a bit of watering and tending, before they sprout. J.K. Rowling famously had an idea for Harry Potter when sitting on a delayed train to London. Suzanne Collins was channel surfing on TV and flipped between a war documentary about World War II and then Big Brother, and from those two separate contrasting images came up with the Hunger Games trilogy. I was sitting on a train going over wasteland in London, where I looked over at that land and I thought, that's where my novel was going to start. I instantly knew how to start my novel, what the opening scene was, and the opening couple of lines. I knew just from that one quick glance at the wasteland exactly what Empty Nights was going to be about. So in answer to the question, where do you get your ideas from? I would say it's different for everyone, but generally writers get ideas from anywhere and everywhere. It's different for everyone, essentially. See what works for you if you're trying to brainstorm ideas. Go out in the world, experience new things, be nosy, eavesdrop on people's conversations, and see what happens in your mind. I think that's all we've got time for today, so thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you for my next video. Take care.